Hi, this is Dee at Aloha Astro, and we're looking at a new moon in the fixed water sign of Scorpio that is occurring today on November 1st, 2024 at 8:47 a.m. at 9 degrees 35 minutes. So let's take a look at the forecast for the energy of this lunation. New moon in Scorpio, Friday, November 1st, Day of the Dead and All Saints' Day, invites you to contemplate mortality, commitment, tradition, ancestors, and the merging, sharing, or protecting of your values or assets, as the moon joins the sun in Scorpio, forming a trine aspect to Saturn retrograde in Pisces, a square aspect to Scorpio's ruling planet Pluto in Capricorn, and a sesqui-square aspect to Neptune retrograde in Pisces, loosely conjunct the North Node in Aries. Scorpio and Pluto rule the 8th house of sex, death, taxes, metaphysics, the occult, business partnerships, inheritances, insurance, and investments. Money and love take on serious or legal tones. Scorpio is especially good at uncovering hidden secrets and detecting lies, and the deep empathy as well as the awareness of the effect that merging energy with another can have might be the reason for an all-or-nothing viewpoint and trust issues. Scorpio mystique and magnetism is legendary and legit, and it is amplified for all to utilize at this new moon, as Pluto engages in a grand trine, kite, mystic rectangle, and castle aspect pattern with Mercury in Scorpio, Mars in Cancer, Uranus in Taurus, and Neptune in Pisces. You can, and probably will, manifest something or someone you desire if you set your mind to it. Hint, you get what you give. A T-square of Chiron, Mars, and Pluto, and 2 more T-squares of Saturn, Neptune, Venus, Jupiter suggest you examine the deeper need or desire driving you. You might find that the love you have for yourself and the love you share with others transcends and transforms all else. Now these things remain: faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. Let's take a look at the sky and see what's happening there. As you can see, we have a lot of aspect patterns, a lot of planetary geometry, exchange of energy between the planets. Here's that new moon with the moon and sun joining there in Scorpio. And there's that square to Pluto, as well as that trine to Saturn. So we get that seriousness energy coming in a little bit more strongly because of Saturn and the fact that Pluto, the ruling planet of Scorpio, is involved here, as well as Saturn, which rules Capricorn. So they are giving some of their seriousness and the thoughts of mortality or tradition and endurance and willpower as well to succeed or to master something is connected to this new moon. We also have an undercurrent coming through that sesqui-square to Neptune, which is a planet of beauty, healing, and inspiration, and increases the already psychic and sensitive nature of Scorpio and enhances it further with the water energy of Pisces through a very sensitive and empathetic planet. And then if we look at the bigger aspect patterns all the way around, here's that mystic rectangle with Mercury, Pluto, Uranus, Mars, and then we've got a grand trine in here with Mercury, Mars, Neptune. This can produce a lot of longing and yearning and increasing the desire, or I would say an appreciation for the good things that you already have, but it would also make you want to have more. Hopefully the manifesting ability that we're all getting right now from all of these wonderful supportive aspect patterns, like the Grand Trine creating two kites, Uranus at the top of one and Pluto at the top of the other, as well as the castle, which has the body of that mystic rectangle, and Neptune up there at the top of that castle or envelope. Whatever you really are focusing upon, if you are coming at it from, I would say, a higher goal or purpose, and not simply selfishness, greed, or maybe a negative perspective like wishing ill upon somebody else, then you are more likely to be happy with whatever it is that you manifest. But because of the T-squares that are in here, Mars, Chiron, Pluto, as well as Jupiter to Neptune and Venus, and Jupiter to Saturn and Venus, you do have to kind of be careful with what you wish for or what you are focusing upon, because you certainly don't want to attract more of the challenging situations or more of the negativity or resistance or fear or lack of harmony or discord between you or others that are possible with the tension of those T-squares. For the last few weeks, we've had a very similar busy sky with days where we just have an overwhelming number of aspect patterns pulling us in all different directions and delivering a good news, bad news type of a story. It does very much feel like the challenging aspects are serving the purpose of being a catalyst to enable you to see and understand what is no longer working and what you no longer want, particularly Mercury in Scorpio opposing Uranus in Taurus, bisecting a Grand Trine and a kite, where you have to figure out, well, where are you going to put your attention? Are you wasting energy by putting it towards something that you really don't want? Why do you keep looking at it? Why do you keep thinking about it? And then what should you let go of? Or what kind of a sacrifice might you have to make in order to manifest what you desire? We've also got some undercurrent here between the two planets that have the most to do with work. You can be as spiritual as you want right now, but unless you are actually busy in doing something or participating for the greater good of other people, or perhaps one-on-one, the symbiosis there of Cancer and Pisces energy, where it's serving the collective, then nothing is going to be moving. We have strong spiritual focus. However, there's still a material world that we are living in. I look at this T-square with Saturn and Neptune, actually these two overlapping ones, where the two benefic planets, Venus and Jupiter, they're bringing in some nice fire and air, more lighthearted energy, but they are struggling a little bit. However, the support that they get, which would help to make the most of them, as well as turn the T-squares into a tool for making things better or looking at alternatives and other options, does all point back to Chiron in Aries. And because Chiron's involved with Mars and Pluto, which can exacerbate pain or really show you things that are uncomfortable and making you scared or hurt, that it does come down to the individual to decide that they want something better, because Chiron is here sextile to Jupiter and trine to Venus. So even though we have a slightly, I would say, disgruntled and divine discontent, and hey, what about me? All those people over there are happy, but I don't have that. I'm not getting what I want, or, my life could be better. well, go and do something about it, is really what this is saying. And if you are dealing with your own internal resistance or fear, or you have trauma or anything going on that requires some healing, we have a great deal of support with Neptune in that castle and in grand trines and a grand trine and 2 kites to make that your priority. Neptune conjunct that North Node in Aries. It is what you decide it will be and what you choose to make it, and you do have to take an action. So you have to be in that state of beingness as well as do what you know you can do to make something happen, to make it real. Some of the retrograde energy, or a great deal of it, is looking back at the stories from the past. And you may benefit from spending some time talking with your elders. You might learn some things about your family that you didn't know before, or your childhood, or just patterns and stories that even if you don't have a full conscious awareness, you could still be playing out those stories. Respect is an important feature with Saturn making that trine to the new moon. Respect for yourself, respect for others, paying attention to where are the boundaries, or do there need to be boundaries? That may also be an important thing that is discussed at this time because of that new moon, as well as Mercury in Scorpio and the aspects that those more personal planets are making with other planets within the sky here. It's very, very busy. There's a lot going on, some favorable, some not so favorable. But if you bless everything and everyone and look at it all as a process, and that it began way back beyond perhaps your full awareness, and it will continue perhaps on another plane of existence after you're gone, bigger picture is at play at this new moon, and digging deeper and asking questions can be a way that you get more awareness and understanding, as well as expand your consciousness and your reach on the material level as well. Let's take a look at the Sabian symbol. We round up to 10 degrees. A fellowship supper reunites old comrades. Keynote, the overtones of human relationships based on a community of work or experiences. That seems very appropriate for a celebration of All Saints' Day and Day of the Dead, where we do remember our ancestors and all those who came before us. And some of them may actually be us, or we are still carrying around parts of them within us. This symbol pictures the essential nature of the bond that unites individuals who have participated in some common activity. The social feeling of communion, plus all that it engenders, arises after the act performed together. Activity is at the root of consciousness. Now, that's interesting because of what I just mentioned. Basically, just sitting there being is not enough. There's also the doing, the action, the work of something. Activity in common generates social consciousness and cultural patterns, which become set in the form of institutions. And here we get some of the Capricorn overtones. A group personality emerges, which displays characteristic features and gives birth to collective emotions and values. Right now, society's values are undergoing, testing and changes, and that is evident with the Taurus Scorpio season, because values come up in the Taurus Scorpio season when we have planets transiting through Scorpio and or Taurus, and particularly this opposition where we have the energy of change through the planet Uranus, and this is future oriented. It also is the planet that rules the sign of Aquarius and the 11th house of friends, groups, organizations, the stage, the gallery, the audience, the internet, technology, the future, sciences. I would say a testing of sorts may be going on concerning values, concerning plans for the future, and where humanity as a whole is heading. I do think it's important to remember at this point in time that no matter how advanced we are nothing unless we protect nature itself, unless we honor and recognize nature and protect the planet, because all our resources come from that planet. And that is a strong focus when we have Scorpio, Taurus emphasized. Nature and the fact that we are on this planet and it supports us. This is the final stage of the 44th fivefold sequence. Wherever the symbol appears, it suggests the importance of establishing or strengthening links with those with whom one has shared or can share living experiences. The value of comradeship is emphasized. So that is that Sabian symbol for the degree of this new moon, as well as the sun. And hopefully that brings something up for you as well in your own personal life. No matter where you have this lunation occurring in your own natal chart, you will probably be dealing with the issue of values and the merging and sharing or protecting against that, defending against that in that particular area of life. And let's see, any other final thoughts? No, I think that's it. As always, emotions are stronger at new moons and full moons. On the day of the new moon itself, it can be hard to literally see. It's best to go within and look at what you're finding there, or just sit with it and hold off on making your ultimate or final decision on something until you feel the intensity let up, which would most likely be tomorrow or the day after. And if you are waiting on something, I find that it's usually a day or two after a new moon or full moon that phone call comes, or that letter arrives, or the decision is made. And it's almost like we are meant to be more in the present moment at the time of a new moon, particularly. Be careful in your travels. There's strong impulse right now. This is not Mercury retrograde. However, Mercury is engaged with planets that could have people acting a little bit erratically. And some of the erratic energy, I think, is necessary to become inspired and see things in a different way through this grand trine kite. But we do have an opposition to Uranus retrograde. And don't speed, watch out for things like road rage. Use your intuitive abilities to kind of know what people are going to do on the road before it happens. I found that for myself the last day or two. Some very crazy things occurred, but it was as if I sensed it, and I noticed that I just automatically slowed down and backed off, and then crazy stuff happened in front of me, like somebody coming into, leaving the left turn lane and coming into my lane where traffic was already moving, and doing so without any signal at all. Expect that type of unexpected behavior because people are so preoccupied with so many other things that they might not be paying attention. They're already wanting to move on to the next thing. They're already jumping ahead in their mind and seeing themselves somewhere else, but forgetting that they are right there on the road in front of you or next to you. So when you get in your vehicle, ask for your guides and angels to be with you on the road, and ask for your inner navigator to warn you when things are not safe, and then listen, and then you'll arrive safely. Take care, and I will be here in 2 weeks for a full moon. I think it'll be November 15th.